Here is my reaction to different negative reviews of How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. How to Win Friends is a book that has changed the lives of millions of people since it was published in, I think the early 1940s. Still today, you'll get the occasional handful of negative comments regarding the book. And you would think that this is about how it's irrelevant or outdated. And the authors of books like this must have been sure at the time to think to themselves, like, how timeless are these principles? So what do these negative reviews say? What do I have to say about them? And what do you guys have to say about them? Please let me know in the comments below if any of them stand out to you. When I first listened to the audio version of this book, I almost found it kind of depressing. Like, damn, are people really this selfish? But applying these principles for me has truly made my life more exciting, interesting, and not to mention, as someone with depression, worth living. Negative reviews may also say that the book is a series of ideas that you can use to manipulate people. Salespeople over the decades have started to abuse these ideas to death, almost to the point where the average person gets the feeling that they're being pressured into saying yes because they go along the lines of social conditioning and how humans at this point naturally react to certain sayings, personal compliments, and verbal cues indicating an interest in what someone else has to say or offer. You can use them to manipulate others, but there's a difference between influencing someone and manipulating them, which we'll probably end up going over in this video. We may or may not cover a lot, but let's dive into it, shall we? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam, and I want to make self-growth normal. If you want to make self-growth normal, then please make sure to smash that like button. We're going to do 3 negative reviews from Amazon. We're going to do 3 negative reviews from Audible. By the way, these are all 1 star. David Jones said that he was forced to give it a 1-star rating. Don't buy the book unless you have no common sense. Most people have no common sense, Dave. I definitely don't have common sense. Maybe that's why I've gotten so much out of the book. But I've met people with common sense who don't do really anything that they advise you to do in this book. Like walking around with a smile on your face, addressing someone directly by their name, and often genuinely meaning the compliments that you give people, and appealing to the nobler motive. That's one that I'm not sure I've ever heard anyone do except on maybe drama shows. Most of it seems to be about the author in his brilliance deciphered and discovered all these amazing points. What most of it is actually about is the amazing points themselves, and in my opinion, the vivid, easy to understand, and very well researched and told examples he presents of them. Think and Grow Rich bears a close description, maybe closer to this than How to Win Friends. And if you check out the video we just did reacting to negative reviews of that book, it was fairly similar to this one. If you have too much money, which you can never have too much money, no common sense, which we went over, and never had a mentor in your life, what kind of mentor is he talking about? This book might help a little. I just don't see this. Like, we all have opinions. Maybe he didn't read the whole thing. I don't know. This next one is just silly. Chapman said that it hasn't worked and everyone still hates him. Come on, Chapman, really? If it hasn't worked, then you may not be doing it right. Talk to other people who this book has worked on and ask them for some advice, and you may be surprised. To say that you could just be an unlikable person it's unlikely the way I see it. This probably sounds more cheesy than anything I've probably said on this channel this entire year, but it's easier to change when you believe you can. Chapman's probably somewhere out there at 5 o'clock watching this thinking, what an idiot, I know all of this. Okay, Chapman, but if everyone still hates you, there's gotta be something you can be doing differently. Legend of Seven said, not a fan. This book basically tells you how to suck up to people, which is the antithesis of who I am. I suppose I can understand that. Note to self, do not suck up to other people. But what about not criticizing them? Is refusing to speak badly of a person sucking up to them? What about figuring out how to get them to want to do something? What about thinking of things from another person's perspective? What about saying hello to someone in a way that shows you're interested in talking to them? I could also just be sucking up to everyone. This whole video could just be one big vacuum and we could all be sucked up into this giant vacuum of suckiness. In fact, the whole world could be sucked into the suckyological vacuum of this book, never to be sucked out of the sucky suckball of Dale Carnegie's suckyography. You know what? Suckness. It's like someone walks in and they're like, Bro, are you okay? Suck off. Here are the negative Audible reviews. Jules, with a shining star emoji, said, not worth it whatsoever. This book appears to be a complete waste of time. Historical stories laced with poor sarcasm that are finished with supposed revelations, which are nothing more than the basics of a Psychology 101 course. Positive reinforcement is how to change behavior, not negative reinforcement. You have to get people to want to do something before they do it. Basic information you can get from reading a short article. I can see how this would be shocking in 1936, but not 2020. Jules, I'm sorry you're disappointed, because this book is a mover and a shaker and a looker and a keeper and the sweetest little branch on the honeysuckle tree of a self-help junkie's personal library. Regarding the positive reinforcement, honestly, if I can be really honest with you guys about something, can I be honest with you guys about something? Sometimes I forget this and I get angry with people. And it never works when you do that. But I also can't help thinking that many people I've met over the last several years with the shortest tempers, they'll insult other people, like myself, who seem to have no common sense. This might sound like just self-victimization or something, but have you ever gone into someone's house and they have a dog, and when it gets up to you and it's all excited, they tell it to stop, and when it doesn't, they give it a slap on the butt or something? That always makes me wince a little, but I'm no dog trainer. In fact, I've never even had a dog. So honestly, it shouldn't be my place to judge their skill in dog ownership and training. However, would it hurt to just get that dog to sit, and when it does, you pat it on the head and you give it a treat? That's a very happy dog, and it's happy because you gave it a treat, and you gave it a treat because, well, you know what I mean. It's stuff like that, and many people consider it common sense, but when you wake up and you have to brush your teeth, maybe you have to get your kids ready for school, you have to make breakfast for you and them, you have to eat it on your way to work, try not to hit anyone on your drive, try not to fall asleep at the wheel, and you finally arrive at work, try not to get too yelled at by too many customers or coworkers, and you keep trying at that promotion, and you get back to your partner and your kids and your dog who can't wait to see you, and all that stuff that you work like mad just to support. Then you have some dinner and you drop a little doopy in the toilet and you fall asleep like there's no tomorrow. When you do all of that at least 5 days a week, you might just forget some of these principles every now and then. So these stories, as fresh as the produce aisle of an Alabama farmer's market, even today are a simple reminder of those revelations. The sarcastic one Jules, I think, is referring to is the manager radio department advertisement letter from John Doe in chapter 3. It was silly, but it was pretty foul. I have to admit, for Dale Carnegie, really. Going against his own vice, maybe for example's sake. You are big and rich and right at the top, aren't you? I don't give two hoops in Hades if you are as big as General Motors and General Electric and the General Staff of the U.S. Army all combined. If you had half as much sense as a half-witted hummingbird, you would realize that I'm interested in how big I am, not how big you are. All this talk about your enormous success makes me feel small and unimportant. It's not a groundbreaker. I'm sorry about that. It's all mere reminders, but they're really just fresh when you need them to be. You know what I mean? Our friend Hamid called it a waste of time. The first half of the book is just promoting the book itself. Does sound like a waste of time, geez. The first half? It's not the first half. It's more like the introduction, but it definitely is promoting itself. Most likely the author's lack of self-confidence. Oh my gosh. I remember the first time I listened to this audiobook 5 or 6 years ago. It was the first audiobook I ever listened to, believe it or not. Oh my gosh, I sound like I'm 86 years old telling this story. I remember in 2016 when I plugged in my AirPods and listened to my first audiobook. I was about 19 years old at the time, and I had just bought my new iPad Mini 4. Or actually, it might have been an iPad Mini 5, but they were small because they were mini. But the normal iPads, they were definitely bigger, probably by a few inches. Or actually, you know what I mean. I remember telling a friend after I started it, I'm pretty excited about this book so far. Really? Why? I mean, it's just a book. Well, I'm about 20 minutes in, and the guy has been talking the whole time about all the work that's gone into putting it together and how much it's changed people's lives, and I'm pretty excited to be one of those people. Either Dale Carnegie wrote the introduction like that on purpose, or he did it for the reader's sake. Or I'm promoting myself, thinking the book is about me instead, right? E. Anderson called How to Win Friends nauseating. Guys, let's really embrace this for a moment. Could this be that one review I've been looking for about manipulating people instead of influencing them? By and large, here we are. This, ladies, gentlemen, and the non-binary, is exactly what I've been waiting for. I don't know about you. This book is about nothing more than how to manipulate, handle people by stroking their ego. Instead of being real with people, you're taught how to be what they want you to be regardless. I'm sure there are many people out there where these techniques would work on them because the world is full of mindless sheep. But instead of handling people, why not just be real and sincere? I found this book's ideas and techniques to be deceitful and repugnant and old. There was nothing new in this book, so don't waste your time and money. Okay, first off, there was always something to me about the words mindless sheep that always said anyone who uses these words likes to think for themselves. They do. But they're overlooking more details in life than they would be comfortable to admit. And they probably have been for years, and it's haunted them. So they project those, I don't know where I'm going with this. But this is the dark side of the book, and it's real. Try going to the mall or a wholesale store, or simply live in a solicitor-friendly neighborhood, and you will experience people using principles in this book almost like they're using their muscles trying to swim. When they lose your interest, they'll drown. And you know why that is? It's because they're not being sincere. They're not being real, and they're being the complete opposite of what E. Anderson suggests that we be. They take tips in the book like using someone's name often because it's their favorite sound in the English language, and asking them as many questions as possible that weren't an easy yes answer or just any positive one. And these people just abuse these principles almost to a robotic degree that eventually makes you think, why does it feel like they're trying to sell me something? And once you realize they are, you back off and you say some sort of response like, let me think about it, or I'm gonna talk to my significant other or spouse about it, or I'm not interested, or something. And you're so embarrassed and you feel like you've wasted your time. And guess what? I have actually been on the other end of all three of those occupations. And when I see those reactions to my own words, it hurts. It does. At the end of the day, it's not natural to be good with people. And it takes time, and you have to realize and learn when you do something wrong. Some people are just very rude. Some people have had bad experiences in the past, so they're kind of guarded. Whenever I went to an old mentor of mine for some guidance after an experience like that, he would always rub his fingers together and look at me with this odd expression. And he would whisper the words, soft skills. Soft skills. And then sometimes I would feel kind of creeped out, but every time I would leave his office immediately, understanding what he meant. What did he mean? Simple. Be real and sincere. Well, there's more to soft skills than that, but still. That is something that this book does not teach. Probably not easy to find a book that will teach it because there are so many different scenarios in life in which it necessitates different responses that rely on your creativity and emotions and senses of tuition, and no one else's, mind you, but people like E. Anderson who look at a complete package of self-education will expect more than a bunch of principles and tips of influencing people and winning friends in a book like this will be disappointed. So this is all worth kind of keeping in mind. Please understand the limits of what is in this book. But those are my reactions to negative reviews of How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. What do you guys think? Do I sound completely unreasonable, or does these people sound completely unreasonable, or did any of them stand out to you? Please let me know in the comments below. I hope you guys got value out of this video. If you did, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, because I don't get why people watch this far into my videos and they don't subscribe. But if you have subscribed, then you want to turn it up just a notch and turn on that notification bell to get a notification whenever I drop new videos. That would mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You can find me everywhere, and I will see you then.